Did you know the Earth can crack open for hundreds of kilometers in just a few minutes? Earthquakes, they're one of nature's most terrifying forces, capable of rewriting history in seconds. Today, we're going to look at the 4 biggest earthquakes ever recorded and uncover the shocking stories behind them. We'll travel from the coast of Chile to the frozen landscapes of Alaska, and from the shores of Sumatra to the heart of Japan. These aren't just stories about geological power. They're stories of human survival, tragic loss, and the incredible lessons we've learned about the planet we call home. So, what really happens when the ground beneath our feet decides to move? Let's find out. First up, the undisputed champion of earthquakes, the Great Chilean Earthquake of 1960. On May 22nd, the ground in southern Chile began to shake with a magnitude of 9.5. To put that in perspective, that's the most powerful earthquake ever recorded by instruments. The energy released was equivalent to thousands of atomic bombs. The rupture zone stretched for nearly 1,000 kilometers, a distance similar to driving from Paris to Berlin. The shaking itself was catastrophic, causing entire buildings to collapse and triggering massive landslides. But the horror didn't stop there. The earthquake generated a monstrous tsunami. Waves as high as 25 meters, or about 8 stories tall, slammed into the Chilean coast, wiping out entire villages. But the ocean's fury wasn't contained to just Chile. This tsunami raced across the entire Pacific Ocean. 15 hours later, it hit Hawaii, causing extensive damage. Then, 22 hours after the initial quake, waves reached the coast of Japan over 10,000 kilometers away, causing significant destruction and loss of life. Even the Philippines and the coast of California felt its effects. Here's the most surprising part of the story. Despite the almost unimaginable power of this quake, the death toll, while tragic, was far lower than one might expect. Estimates range from about 1,000 to 6,000 people. Why? A crucial factor was a series of, in the days leading up to the main event, several powerful earthquakes rattled the region. This served as a terrifying but life-saving warning. Many people were already on high alert, and some had even evacuated from coastal areas. Chile's relatively low population density in the affected region also played a role. It was a brutal lesson, but it highlighted the immense importance of preparedness and heeding nature's warnings. Now, let us fast forward 44 years to a story with a tragically different outcome. The 2004 Sumatra Andamon earthquake. On December 26, a massive 9.1 magnitude quake occurred off the west coast of northern Sumatra. While slightly less powerful than the Chilean quake, its impact was devastatingly widespread. This was what's known as a megathrust earthquake, where one tectonic plate violently slides under another. The seafloor was thrust upwards by several meters over a 1,300-kilometer stretch, displacing an enormous volume of water. The result was one of the deadliest tsunamis in recorded history. Unlike in Chile, there were no warning signs. The quake struck without any foreshocks. The waves traveled across the entire Indian Ocean, catching millions completely by surprise. Indonesia was hit first and hardest, with waves reaching over 30 meters high, sweeping miles inland. But the destruction spread to 14 countries. Thailand, Sri Lanka, India, and even the east coast of Africa were devastated. The total death toll was staggering, estimated at around 230,000 people. Entire communities were erased from the map. The tragedy of 2004 was a global wake-up call. At the time, there was no tsunami warning system in the Indian Ocean. Unlike the Pacific, people on the coast had no idea what the receding water meant, and many tragically went to the shoreline to investigate, only to be consumed by the incoming wave. In the aftermath, the world came together to establish the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning System. The disaster underscored a painful truth. It is not just the power of an earthquake that determines its deadliness, but also the vulnerability and preparedness of the populations in its path. Our next stop takes us to a completely different environment. The icy expanse of Alaska. On March 27, 1964, Good Friday, a magnitude 9.2 earthquake struck the Prince William Sound region. This remains the most powerful earthquake in North American history. The shaking lasted for a terrifying 4.5 minutes. The ground liquefied in some areas, causing entire neighborhoods to slide into the sea. In the Turnagain Heights area of Anchorage, the ground broke into massive blocks that slid and collapsed, destroying 75 houses. The sheer scale of the geological change was astounding. Some areas were lifted up by as much as 11 meters, while others dropped by 2 meters. The quake also generated a powerful tsunami that was responsible for most of the fatalities. The town of Valdez was hit particularly hard, where an underwater landslide caused by the quake created a localized wave that destroyed the port. The tsunami then traveled down the coast, causing damage in British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, and California. But here is the astonishing fact. The total death toll from this monster quake was only 131 people. Why so low? The primary reason was Alaska's sparse population. The epicenter was in a remote area, and even the larger affected cities like Anchorage had relatively small populations at the time. It was also a public holiday, and the timing of the quake, late in the afternoon, meant that schools and most offices were empty. While the property damage was immense, the low population density prevented a catastrophe on the scale of Sumatra. The Great Alaskan Earthquake became a crucial event for providing a wealth of data that fundamentally changed our understanding of subduction zones and the mechanics of massive earthquakes. Finally, we arrive in Japan, a nation synonymous with earthquakes, and perhaps the most prepared country in the world. On March 11, 2011, their preparedness was put to the ultimate test. A magnitude 91 earthquake, the most powerful ever to hit Japan, struck off the Pacific coast of Tohoku. The shaking was felt across the country, causing skyscrapers in Tokyo, hundreds of kilometers away, to sway violently. But Japan's world-class building codes, designed to withstand intense shaking, largely held up. Most of the tall buildings survived. The real catastrophe came from the water. The earthquake triggered a colossal tsunami with waves that, in some areas, reached a terrifying height of over 40 meters. The waves overtopped the country's multi-billion-dollar seawalls, which were designed for smaller tsunamis, and surged up to 10 kilometers inland. They obliterated coastal towns and cities, sweeping away homes, cars, and infrastructure. The images broadcast to the world were apocalyptic. But the disaster wasn't over. The tsunami inundated the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, disabling its power supply and cooling systems. This led to a series of nuclear meltdowns, releasing radioactive material into the environment and forcing the evacuation of over 100,000 people. It was a triple disaster: earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear crisis. Over 19,000 people lost their lives, the vast majority due to the tsunami. The event showed that even for the most prepared nation on earth, there are forces of nature so powerful that they can exceed our worst-case scenarios. From Chile to Japan, these 4 earthquakes tell a powerful story. They show us the raw, untamable power of our planet. But more importantly, they reveal our own vulnerabilities and our incredible resilience. They teach us that while we can't stop the earth from shaking, we can learn, we can prepare, and we can build better. The lessons learned from each disaster, paid for at a terrible cost, have led to better warning systems, stronger buildings, and a deeper understanding of the world beneath our feet. They remind us that we live on a dynamic and powerful planet, and respecting that power is key to our survival. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this journey into the Earth's power as fascinating as I did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into our amazing world. Stay safe, and see you next time.